Welcome to the Sisters in Service podcast. My name is Kat Corchado, also known as the voice connecting women veterans nationwide. This podcast is for anyone connected with the military, from veterans, male and female, military spouses, military brats, even parents who may have children who are in the military. As an Air Force veteran, I understand the trials and triumphs that women veterans go through in service and out of service. And so I wanted to find a way that I could put it out there into the airwaves and let everyone know what we're going through and find a way and a solution to what's happening to us in the service. I also like to highlight these women who are business owners, they're entrepreneurs, they're bosses in their business. And so I hope that you will follow me, you will share, and you will subscribe to this podcast, which comes out every week on Tuesdays. And as always, please stay safe, take care of each other until next time. And it's never too late to start your impossible. This episode is brought to you by Small Space Pilates. Are you ready to start your fitness journey, but you're not sure where to start? We all know that our fitness needs change as we age, and we want to have fun and feel a sense of community. SS Pilates is an online community where you will have access to 3 live classes per week and a library of videos you can utilize at any time that fits your schedule. It's a place where you don't have to be perfect. You can wear your comfy clothes and turn your space into your own personal fitness studio. There's more information at smallspacepilates.com. And remember, Small Space Pilates is not just a class, it's a community. Welcome to another episode of Sisters in Service. I am your host, Kat Corchado. And my guest today is Lila Holley. Yeah, I said it, Lila Holley. You know of her or you know her because she's a big deal, y'all. She's a retired chief warrant officer. She was also active duty in the U.S. Army. She is a visionary, the visionary behind the Camouflaged Sisters brand. She's a 9-time Amazon bestselling author, and she happens to be on my podcast today. So, Lila, welcome to Sisters in Service.
Thank you, Kat, for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so glad you said yes to come on today. So, Lila, before I get in any further, I said retired chief warrant officer. Now, you had to have been in the military a while ago, and I retired in 2000 after doing 20 years. So that tells you a little bit of where I was. I knew about warrant officers, but can you explain to some of our audience that maybe may not know what a warrant officer is? Can you explain that, please?
Yes, absolutely. So I was in the Army, and in the Army, we have 2 types of warrant officers. And so just so you understand the rank structure of the military, we have the enlisted, which is your NCOs and lower enlisted. And then we have the regular officer rank, which are your lieutenants all the way up to general officer. And then in between, sandwiched in between is your warrant officer. And so warrant officers could have been prior enlisted, which I was, and then I became a warrant officer, which is a technician, which is a specialized officer in a certain field. And not every field in the Army has warrant officers. I was military intelligence. And so I was an enlisted military intelligence soldier. And then I transitioned into the warrant officer branch. The other type of warrant officer we have in the military are the pilots. And a lot of people know about pilots, that warrant officer, but there are what they call leg warrant officers and those who don't fly. And so that's what I was. I was
I've never heard it called that before.
Yes, a jockey or whatever the joke is, you know.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So Lila, I always ask this question. Did you pick the Army or did the Army pick you?
Well, the Army kind of picked me. I wanted to go into the military. I took junior ROTC in high school, and it was Air Force junior ROTC, which I really, really enjoyed quite a bit because I was kind of shy growing up, really, withdrawn and, like every other awkward teenager dealt with self-esteem issues as well. But then when I got into junior ROTC, like I came alive, like this leader inside of me just kind of erupted. And I was like, oh, wow, this is kind of cool, to really grow my confidence in that course and really, open up my mind to what the possibilities were. I was a teenage mother, so I kind of thought that my chances of joining the actual military were hindered because of that. And so I say the Army chose me because I went initially and talked to the Air Force recruiter. And when I mentioned the fact that I was a teenage mother, they kind of backpedaled and was like, oh, they kind of frowned on that. And as I was leaving his office, the Army recruiter was right there, like, hey,
they were like, psst, psst,
come here. Yeah, you know how they do. What did he say to you? We can work with that. Don't worry about that. But my scores were really high on the ASVAB. And so I was kind of a catch for any branch that took me. So it was the Air Force loss, but the Army's win. And I jumped in and never looked back. And, like I said, I had a different motivation at that time because I was a young mother and I wanted to provide a life for my son and my family as a whole. And
absolutely.
Just kind of change the course of, what was happening at that time.
Well, it's funny you say that, Lila, because we have that in common. I was a teenage mom also. But if you flash back to, I don't know, you're probably still a child, 1979. I graduated in 1975. I was in Germany as a dependent and I floated around. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And it's really disheartening when you're hungry with no money to possibly buy anything. But when your child is hungry too, that's a whole different story.
Man, listen, that's a different type of motivation. Absolutely.
And I came in on delayed enlistment in 1979 and I went active duty in March of 1980. And I remember going to boot camp and, you have to sign all the paperwork and fill all this out and it says, do you have any dependents? And I said, yes. And my TI, my training instructor called me in and he said, how did you get in the service with a dependent? I was like, y'all let me in. I don't know what to tell you. But apparently January, so I signed the paperwork in November 79, January 1980, I think the Air Force said, that's it. Yeah. We're not taking anymore. So if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have been in the military at all. Yeah. Well, maybe just not the Air Force. But like you said, that's a totally different motivation. And also when you're talking about leadership, we don't really understand if we're good leaders or not, or we have that leadership quality. And when you said you came alive in ROTC, it kind of sparked this. When I was in junior high, my teacher told me I should run for class president. I was like, nope, not doing it. And she put my name in anyway, and I freaking won. Okay. I was like, holy, now what do I do? And she goes, don't worry, it's going to be fine. But I think we don't understand the leadership qualities. It's not that you're, like we said, I'm a leader, but you have to have certain leadership qualities that a lot of times we don't even recognize that we have. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm the oldest of 6 kids. And so for me, I was just bossy. That's all it was.
And then she went in the military also.
So for me, I just thought I was just bossy. I was just, I had, like you said, I felt like I was born a mother or had motherly instincts like from birth because I was the oldest and I was, like I said, it was 6 of us. And so, but you're right. Like when you go into something like junior ROTC or even, eventually into the military, it's leadership is different.
Yes.
Like you said, the qualities and the characteristics. And I always I appreciate the military because even though I came in with a little bit of leadership experience through junior ROTC, when I got into the military, it's leadership on a whole nother level because now you're dealing with lives. You're dealing with, multi-million-dollar equipment. You're dealing with real life.
In some instances, you're in charge of millions of dollars worth of people and assets.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's leadership on a whole nother level, but it's also a great breeding ground to learn and to have mentors to kind of teach you and train you along the way. And there, even though there's little room for mistakes, there's some room for mistakes, and that allows for growth as a leader. And so I appreciate that about the military. I appreciated that even coming into as an NCO, a young NCO, the lessons that I learned from my senior NCOs at that time really laid the foundation and helped me as I transitioned to a young warrant officer, and then as I grew into a senior warrant officer, and I was able to give that back to those who came behind me. And that for me was like the greatest reward when I retired after 22 years of active duty, just seeing the soldiers that I had led
becoming leaders.
Yeah, become senior NCOs, even becoming warrant officers themselves. It was, I felt like I'm leaving the military in great hands, and I'm proud of that.
I think your supervisors will either make or break your career. I truly believe that. I had some great supervisors, and they saw something in me that I didn't see in myself.
Yes.
And they were able to coach me along and say, you know what, it's going to be okay. You've got this, And I remember one time I had a commanding officer came in. I think he was a light colonel. And he walked in, and I had made a mistake, on something. And I went to my boss and I said, hey, this happened, blah, blah, blah. He goes, okay, cool. I said, but he's walking in. He goes, okay. So we had a meeting, and the guy says, blah, blah, blah. He said, and he goes, yes, I already know about it. And here's how we're going to fix it. And that shut him up. He was like, what? So my boss always taught me, when you make a mistake, just say, you know what? I screwed it up. Now let's try to fix it.
Absolutely.
And that was one of the biggest lessons I learned when I was in the military.
Absolutely. That's a true leader, right there.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Lila, talk about your transition. What year did you transition, and what was your thoughts prior to transition and then actual transition? Were they the same? Were they different? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I retired in 2012. And I was ready. Like I said, I did 22 years. I raised 2 kids. I was dual military in the military, meaning me and my husband both served in uniform together, active duty, while raising our youngest daughter. And it was a lot, And so I was ready. I was ready to retire. I felt like I was the branch manager at the time. So I had achieved success in my mind. I had defined what success looked like to me, and I had achieved it, and it was time. And I wanted to retire young enough to really have time with my family and raise my daughter and just really enjoy that experience as a mom.
So Lila Holley Part 2.
Yeah. Because as you know, being a mother in the military, it's like a blur,
Oh, it's so difficult. It's hard.
With my son, I look back over those years and I'm like, wake up, go to work, go to school, go to practice, do homework, eat, wake up.
It's like that movie Groundhog Day where you repeat the same thing and
you're like, oh my gosh, he's getting ready to graduate. How did this happen? And so, I was absolutely ready. I, planned it out and was ready. But then when it came, oh my gosh, like it was crazy because I remember signing out terminal leave, like crying, and I was like literally tears coming out my eyes, and I didn't understand at the time. And the NCO was like, Chief, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be okay. And I was like, I don't understand why I'm so emotional right now. Why these emotions are taking over me at this point. And then I realized what it was. It was, for most of my adult life, I was a soldier. This was all I knew. And so transition was kind of scary. I went into it thinking it was just another PCS move, like like I got this. Let's get this.
Just keep it moving.
Going.
Yeah,
go down this checklist, get these tasks done, move on to the next mission, and it's nothing like that.
No,
it's an actual life transition, and there's an emotional aspect to it that I wasn't ready for, and so I had to get through that. And then I was able to talk about that and find out that that's part of the transition journey, and to share that with other women and other veterans, and to reassure them that, hey, this is just part of the journey. It's normal. It's okay. You're going to get through it like the rest of us have. But just know that this emotional piece that you're feeling is part of the journey.
Don't you think it's lonely though? I mean, there's a loneliness aspect. Like, even though it's like being on a roller coaster ride. You're like, okay, it's going to be a little scary. And you're like, okay. And then you get on the actual roller coaster and go, holy crap, what is this? You didn't tell me about this.
Right.
And so I was a lot like you. I walked out of the military thinking, I was a first round draft pick. I had my DD-14. I marched out there in my little civilian clothes, expecting a band, expecting music and all this other stuff. And there was nothing out there. And I'm like, what's going on?
Right.
And you fall down this rabbit hole of, it's like you're free falling. It's kind of, you're just like, what is this? And then it takes you a while to get your feet on the ground.
Absolutely. One of my friends, she describes it as a bad breakup, right? You have to mourn this relationship coming to an end, and you're holding on, grasping for straws, but they've moved on, obviously. And you have to figure out who you are now that this relationship has ended, but you have to go through all the emotions of mourning the loss of the relationship. And that's what, I mean, I was like, that's perfect. That is the perfect description of transitioning from the military, because you have to go through that emotional piece of it. And I think people don't, a lot of people who have not served don't understand that there's so much that we've invested in serving in the military. And I don't care if you serve 3 years or 33 years, you've invested in your military career. You've gone through basic training. You've been indoctrinated.
Yes.
Your thought processes have changed because of that indoctrination. Now you're a part of this team/family, and people who you have to entrust your life to after just meeting them. Like, these are random people that you have to entrust your life to them to
you have to
survive.
Exactly.
To survive. And so it's a lot involved in that emotionally. I think that sometimes people don't really understand what we go through as veterans. And we love it because we chose it, and we chose to stay for so long. And we've made lifelong friendship, people who we call family, who don't look like us, who didn't come from us, who don't share the same blood as us because of this experience. But there is absolutely a piece of that transition process that, that is, we still have to really take a hard look at and uncover the emotional aspect of it. Because I feel like, as I looked at transition and I looked at my emotions, I was like, they talk about the 22, or I guess it's down to 17 now, I don't know, but however many veterans are taking their lives a day.
Yes.
I feel like this is the group that is caught in that emotional capsule,
and they can't get out.
Don't have the tools to fight through it. We all go through it. We all have to push through it. If you don't have the proper tools to get through it, or access to the resources to help you develop those tools, then you choose a final, option such as that. And it's unfortunate.
Yes.
It's really unfortunate. And that's why, for me, when I started talking about my struggles in transition, and I started hearing women say, oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one. I know exactly what you're talking about. I went through the same thing. I thought I was the only one. I was like, I got to keep talking.
Because we isolate as women.
Yeah.
But I also think, and let me get your opinion on this. Do you think that if you knew exactly who you were when you weren't having the uniform on, what you wanted to do you think your transition would have been easier, or would have been the same? So a lot of us identify, we're in uniform, we're sergeant, we're general, we're current, well, maybe not general. So, but you know what I mean? And then you get out and you're not that anymore, but you don't know who you are anymore when you're not wearing that uniform. So do you think that would have helped your transition? a little bit more than having just getting out and, we have to go through that mourning process. I think that mourning process is necessary, that we have to go through that.
I think that helps, but I still think there's an emotional piece to transition and out of the military. And I say that because if you think about every life transition that you go through, like becoming a mother, right?
Even that's a huge transition.
Yeah, a young mother, getting married, getting divorced, losing a parent. Those are significant life transitional points.
Yes.
That have you can just say that becoming a mother. I said it and you was like, oh my gosh, so many emotions run through your mind when you say, oh, I became a mother at 15, and you're like, oh man, I can feel the emotions because that's my story. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so getting married, I remember getting married. Now it's not just me that I have to answer to. I have a spouse now. We're blending families now.
Right.
Mothers-in-laws, fathers-in-laws. There's so many emotions tied to every life transitional point that we go through, and military transition is no exception.
Right.
There's no exception to that. So I feel like even if you have it all planned out, even if it's
not going to go according to script.
You still, like you said, you still got to go through that. You still got to go through that emotional piece because, like you said, that our identity is so caught up in our uniform.
Yes.
And now it's like
and I think the longer you're in, the more you identify as part of the military.
Yeah.
Let me ask you one more question about transition, then we'll move on. When I got out, when I retired in 2000, I didn't know about any organizations. They probably were out there, but no one told me about them. And so fast forward 2017, I'm still talking to women who are like, oh, transition is so difficult. And I'm like, okay, what's the problem here? Why are we still talking about this? So in your opinion, what do you think the difference is between when I transition, or even yourself, and now? Is it the same, or is it just different because of the timing?
I think it's getting better because of the stories. That's what I think. I think it's getting better because we're talking more about it. And we're sharing and we're being transparent and we're showing vulnerabilities as veterans. And that's something that we didn't have the luxury of when we were in uniform. Vulnerability is like a taboo.
Oh, don't you dare. Don't you dare show any vulnerability. Yes, it actually worked against you.
Yeah. So now when, the uniform is off and now I can say, what I'm dealing with, how I'm feeling, or, what I'm struggling with. And it's okay because I'm not the only one. Once I start telling that story,
then that, right? They just come, and all of a sudden they start gravitating towards you.
Yeah, I'm going through the same thing, and it's all veterans. It's not just women or men, but our hearts are for the ladies because, we carry so much as women. We're caregivers. We're, a lot of times women coming out of the military are the primary provider for their families, having been single mothers or divorced or whatever, they carry so much on their shoulders.
Yes.
They don't a lot of times feel like they have an outlet. And so for me, like that has been my heart's passion to let them know, like, you're not alone. Like there's a whole sisterhood out here who can relate to what you're, all the heaviness that you carry on your back, because we've been there. And
having that safe space. That's I think important. Absolutely. And women veterans were a little hesitant to trust people, but once you start to trust and know that this is a place where you can talk about things and it's okay, then the floodgates open, then other people know about it. So let's transition right to Camouflaged Sisters. So how did Camouflaged Sisters come about? What were you thinking? How did this idea come about for you?
Yeah, it came about what I just said, telling the story. So telling the story, and just getting out there. I volunteered a lot after I retired. And so I was like, I got to be around other people who understand, like
Right.
I got to get around people who can speak my
Language. Right.
I ain't got time to be describing.
It's like being in a foreign country and no one speaks English. And
Right.
You're just like,
you don't know what these acronyms mean. I don't have time to explain it to you. And so I started volunteering a lot and just asking a lot of questions of, other women veterans and about their transition experience and different things that they went through when they left service and stuff like that. And that's when I was, reassured that, hey, you're on the right track. This is just normal stuff. You'll get through it. You're not the only one. You know what I mean? So that was really reassuring. And then from there, I listened. I listened to their stories, and I was around older women veterans who paved the way for us.
Yes.
And I was like, man, these ladies have had some amazing careers. And I was thinking to myself, well, who is telling their stories? Like, man, you did that in service. You did that. Wow. And so I have self-published my book about my transition, Battle Buddy. And I wanted to continue writing because I had got the bug with the first book. And I was like, I got to tell these stories. I got to tell her, like, who's telling our stories? Because, with transition, I started to look for resources, and there weren't any books out there. There weren't any stories of transition from other women who
paved the way before we came. Those stories.
Right. Yeah. And so I was like, man, somebody got to tell these stories. These ladies are amazing. And so I was introduced to my publisher. I told her my idea, and she was like, that is brilliant. I love it. And there's not a lot of books out. There's not books out there like that. And so that's how Camouflaged Sisters was birthed, because I just felt like our stories mattered. Our stories were worth telling. And, people see women in uniform and they see us, but they don't really know. They don't really know our story.
They don't know the story. They don't get it. And as far as your book is concerned, I had a woman on my podcast, and she was self-publishing a book for military kids. And I thought, that's brilliant. Yeah. And I said, well, why are you self-publishing? She goes, I have shopped this around to all kinds of people. And they were like, yeah, the market's not there. It's not there. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So I think, and it's a shame. It's a shame, because I think if more civilians read our books and tried to understand what we go through, then this whole transition process wouldn't be as bad, I think.
Yeah.
Now, I know that you built Camouflaged Sisters on the platform on 4 different pillars. Can you tell us what those pillars are and explain a little bit about them?
Yeah. So sharing, and we're sharing our truths in Camouflaged Sisters, and that's through the storytelling. We're revealing our truths. There's like we talked about, people see us, but they don't really know our story. So we're revealing our truths, and sometimes that's the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes, yes.
And so we're revealing our truths, and then because of that, we're healing. Women are healing as a result of sharing their stories, and for us at Camouflaged Sisters, we use writing as a healing tool. Mm. It's very healing to share your story, to get to the point to where you can even share your story, because everybody's not there yet. And we understand that, and we respect that. But when you get to the point of healing where you can share your story to help others, that's a very wonderful place to be in. And then lastly is community. We're building an amazing community of women and for women who, just like you said, are looking for a sisterhood of other women who understand what they've been through, what they're going through, and where their stories are respected.
I love that. Because you don't know you need this community until you become a veteran. Like I always say, being with other sister veterans is like being a part of this club you didn't know you had access to until you got out. And all of a sudden you start seeing all these women veterans all over the place. And especially when you start talking to someone and they may not have anything on that says veteran, but they'll say one word and you'll go, "Are you a veteran?" Yeah. And they're like, "How did you know?" I'm like, "You said this word. Only veterans know that one word."
Right.
So I think that's awesome. So you got the bug. You're a 9-time Amazon best-selling author. You just kept writing. So let me ask you this question. Out of all the books that you've written, which one is your favorite?
Don't ask me that. You know better than to ask me that.
I thought maybe it might be your first one because it is your first. I thought maybe no.
I would tell you every book. And my authors would tell you I'm excited about every freaking project we do. I'm on 1,000 every single time. I'm like, oh my God, this project's gonna be so great. You guys are so amazing. I'll catch it. And they're like, okay. What kind of book is this for you? Like 6, 7, 8. Why are you still so excited? And I'm excited like that for every single project because, like I said, we use writing as a healing tool, and just to see the ladies from when they first come to the project to when the project is done and they see their words on paper is such a rewarding feeling for me as the visionary. And then for them, it's so emotional because when they read their words back, they're like, oh man, this is amazing. I just can't wait for people to read my story and to just be inspired by my words. And that's what it's all about. And I tell them all the time, we're writing for that person that's going to hit you in the inbox and thank you for having the courage to share your story. That's why we
Absolutely.
write.
I think as women in general, but specifically women veterans, we're always going to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. Now, you might have gone through hell at a certain point in time in your life, whether it was before you went in the military, during the military, after the military, and we don't really look back at those moments and go, I almost didn't make it here, but I did. And so I have this shirt that says badassery starts here.
I got the same shirt.
From our friend Melissa, right?
Yes.
Melissa Washington.
Yes.
And it's true. We don't know how powerful we are till we look back on our journey and go, wow. And I don't know why we don't do that more often. Yeah. Is to look back during those times and just say, it was so hard, but I'm here to talk about it. And there's somebody out there who needs your story. Absolutely. They need to hear that. So let me shift gears a little bit. So you're an entrepreneur, you're a speaker, you're an author, you're just doing all the things. How does Lila Holley take care of her body? How do you take care of you mentally and physically?
Yeah. So with Camouflaged Sisters, I really talk a lot about self-care, self-love, and taking time to make sure that's a priority to us as women veterans especially, and mothers. We wear a lot of hats. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a grandmother.
Yes.
Like you said, I'm all those things, entrepreneur, all that stuff. And so we wear so many different hats, but you're right. And it's just in our nature as veterans to be on to the next mission, and be so mission oriented that you forget that if you're not, running at 100%, you're not good. You're not going to be any good for anybody else. And so For me, I learned that a long time ago that, self-care is important. So I love cooking. That's one of the things that anybody who knows me well knows that that's my thing. And so I do love to cook. I love to try out healthy recipes. I try to walk as much as I can. And I have an inner circle of ladies who I can really let loose and be myself with, and
that's important.
And I think, we all need that. I was just thinking about that this morning. I was like, because I spent time with them yesterday, and I was like, I'm so grateful for my friends that I could just, let loose and just be Lila. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're not the author. You're not the, you're just you.
Yeah. We have to be on, like in the military, we're on all the time.
All the time.
Like you're
Well, even as entrepreneurs, we're on,
on all the
especially if
time
yeah, exactly.
because
And
you're your
for you
brand.
to just be you,
Yeah.
and just sit back and be silly,
Yeah. Exactly.
I think
Exactly.
that's very healing. And I also think that walking is an underrated activity.
Yeah.
And I think walking is just amazing. But the one question I want to ask is, what is a Lila Holley recipe? Something that people just go, I love when you make this. What is that?
Oh man, I got so many of them.
Of course you do.
But one thing I'll give you a couple of them. So my family always asks me to make lasagna. Like that's the thing that they
Love
love
lasagna.
that I make. And so I love making lasagna for like family get-togethers. And then one of my good friends, I made her one Thanksgiving. I said, "Have you ever had homemade cranberry sauce?" And she was like, "What? No." And I said, "Oh my gosh, I gotta make you some homemade cranberry sauce." And I made it for her, and I taught her how to make it. And we never buy canned cranberry sauce, so we buy the bags of cranberry in November. We make homemade cranberry sauce every Thanksgiving. So that's one. And then another thing that I love to make for me and my husband when we're on our vegetarian kick is spaghetti squash.
Ooh.
I love it. I love spaghetti squash, and you can do so much with it. It's such a versatile vegetable, and so I like making it into a casserole or with spaghetti sauce or I just did one with Alfredo sauce and a bunch of different vegetables. It was
Ooh.
so good, and so I love spaghetti squash. That's like my go-to vegetable when I want to do something different. So
Can I tell you, I never liked cranberry sauce. So my husband does the cooking in our family. He just does. He's better at it. He loves to do it. I'm like, it's yours. He made homemade cranberry sauce one year during the holidays. And I said, he goes, "Do you want to taste it?" I was like, sure. Because all of his stuff he makes tastes great. I eat only his cranberry sauce.
I'm telling you,
Oh, it's so different. It's night and day.
I'm
You're
telling
just like,
you.
what is that crap in the can?
I know.
I don't What is
People
that
don't know,
stuff?
man. I tell people, I'm like, canned cranberries, don't you insult
I'm
me
like, don't
like
you
that.
dare. Don't you dare.
I will make you some cranberry sauce. Give me
Don't
20
take it
minutes.
back out the house. Put it in the car. I'll
Right.
make my own. Oh my God. Lila, it's been such a fantastic time having you on this podcast. Where can people find you? But before you say that, what's coming up for Lila Holley and Camouflaged Sisters in the near future?
Well, I'm excited to announce that we launched our publishing company, Camouflage Sisters Publishing.
Congratulations.
Yes, I'm super excited about that. I'm actually finishing up my master's degree in creative writing with a concentration in publishing, and I'm learning so much that I can't wait to incorporate into, with my authors through the publishing company. But with the publishing of 9 books, I already learned so much. But this master's.
It seems kind of mute, right? That you're going to school for this. So you've already published 9 books.
I'm learning so much. I'm learning, and I'm getting into fiction writing, and I'm so excited about that, and just learning so much. And so I'm excited about now creating Camouflage Sisters Publishing to be able to help so many other veterans share their stories. Veterans and organizations share their stories, and so. So with that, we are working on our 9th project, our 9th Camouflage Sisters book. We have 14 co-authors for that, and it is going to be focused on the transition process. So, yeah, I'm excited about that, and the ladies are excited about that too. And so, like I said, Camouflage Sisters is about sharing our stories and the healing process that takes place when we are in a good space to share our stories. So it will always be about that. So I'm excited about that with the ladies and the new launch of our publishing company.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. And we're back doing our sisterhood getaways, which is our annual trips that we take. And you talk about getting together with other women veterans. I love the sisterhood getaways because it attracts, women who, like you said, normally don't get together with other women veterans. And I always ask that question when we do our getaways, like, do you normally get together with other women veterans? Is this your first time doing something like this? And a lot of times it is their first time, but not their last time, thankfully,
Right.
after they experience it, and I talk a lot about, the importance of community and staying connected to the community, to people who understand your journey as a woman veteran. So they get it after the trip is over. And I'm just thankful that, we're able to do these things and create these different opportunities for us to connect through community. So and so people can follow us on social media. We're on Facebook. Camouflaged Sisters LLC is our Facebook page, and then at Camouflaged Sisters is our Instagram page. We're also on LinkedIn as well. And what was I going to say? Oh, our website is camouflagesisters.org. And so we got a lot going on. We do have a paid membership option for people who want to join us. We're going to be marching in the National Memorial Day Parade again this year.
Oh, nice.
Fourth year marching in the parade. And
Where's that? Where are you located?
I'm in Texas, but the parade is in Washington, D.C. And so
Oh,
this is
nice. Can you just stop by North Carolina and pick me up, please?
Yeah, come on,
Let's do a caravan.
Yes, come on with us. Come on. So we're excited about that because we've been doing this, like I said, this is our fourth year. They canceled it during COVID, but we started this about 5-6 years ago in 2018. And we've been doing it ever since. And we just love going out there. We just love seeing the people who come out to watch the parade, and especially the little girls who are like, hey,
I know.
They just go crazy when they see us. And
what is that date, Lila? What is the date for that?
It's actually on Memorial Day, and this year it falls on May 29th.
Okay.
Yep, that last Monday in May. And so
that's so awesome.
Yeah, we're excited about that. They live stream it through YouTube and a couple of other platforms, but yeah, it's such a great experience. We have such a good time when we go into DC, and each year our group gets bigger and bigger. So I'm super excited about this year as well. So, but that's what we got going on. Check out our website. And
not a whole lot at all, y'all. She's not doing hardly anything. Okay, can I just say, from a fitness perspective, because I've been in the fitness industry it's going to be 39 years this year, that everything that you do, you still find time to take care of you. Because the one thing that I hear all the time is, I don't have time. You have time. You just have to. I'm a true believer of, if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Put it on your calendar.
Yes.
So I'm super proud of you. I'm just going to say, but if someone were listening to this and were really on the fence about writing their story, what would you say to this potential new author?
Write the story, tell the story. Like Kat said, when we hear what each other have gone through or made it through, it's always inspiring to know that you're not alone. You're not the only one. And to hear, what other women have survived through. And so don't be afraid. It's not as hard as, sometimes we make it out to be, writing and publishing a book. It really is not. Reach out to us on at Camouflage Sisters Publishing. Reach out to me on social media. Just reach out to us and let's just have a conversation. If we don't publish your book, we'll at least share resources with you that could help you get there. But don't minimize your story. Don't minimize your experiences, because somebody needs to hear your story. Somebody's waiting to hear from you. I always tell authors, think about the person who's waiting to hear from you.
Absolutely. Well said. Lila, thank you so much for being willing enough to come on to Sisters in Service. It's been such a pleasure having you and hearing everything that's coming up for you and everything you're doing. And I was going to say, I'm so proud of you, but you don't need me to say that. So
it's always good to hear that.
I'm still proud of you.
It's always good to hear that. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm proud of you too. It's not an easy thing to start a podcast and to stay consistent. I think that is the key with any journey, especially entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Stay consistent with it. it, like we were talking before we came on air, it's not easy. You know, it was never meant to be, because if it was, everybody would be doing it, but it's so worth it. And I'm all about creating platforms where we're sharing stories. And so this is another amazing platform by another amazing woman veteran. And so I'm super proud of you, Kat. So keep it up.
Thank you.
Keep sharing the stories and keep doing it.
Thank you, Lila. I hope that hearing this story, what Lila had to say, sparked someone to just write a few sentences of their story, of how it began. And for everyone out there, please stay safe, take care of each other until next time. And it's never too late to start your impossible.